Shay. I am first and foremost a donor mom and a Life Bank volunteer ambassador. The journey started with my son, Adam Joseph Shay. Adam was born on July 21st, 1992, and on January 8th, 2014, Adam became a donor hero. Adam is my youngest child, and he has an older sister, Jessica, and an older brother, Brian, and of course his father, my husband, Greg. Adam's childhood was fairly typical. Adam struggled with ADHD, and school was very challenging for him, but he was very bright, and as he described it, his brain was like a Ferrari inside a Chevy Chevette. We always encouraged him to pursue lots of different interests and activities. Adam was in soccer, football, track, science Olympiad, Boy Scouts, and lacrosse. Adam's finest talent, though, was his artwork. Techniques can be taught, but Adam's talent was truly God-given. Even at a young age, he took delight in making clay animation movies, using rotoscoping to create special effects, and he and his friends would write and make simple movies, a lot of Star Wars-themed ones, but truly using the talent that was beyond his years. Adam's art talent was also present in his drawing and watercolor ability. He won several awards for his pieces. One of his pieces won an award at the state level. Drawing and painting came natural to him. It was amazing to watch him create and spend such quality and quantity of time to a project. It's funny how the brain cannot focus at times and then hyper-focus at others. Adam's other great passion was his music. Although he never learned to read music, he was able to listen to a song and be able to play it by ear on his guitar. When he was in high school, he formed a band. The band's name was Crank. Yes, mostly heavy metal, Pantera, and Metallica were among Adam's favorite bands. Band practice was held at our home, and many a days I would come home from work, and the music was a bit loud, and I'm sure the windows were rattling. His talent took him to the high school rock-off competition at the House of Blues. How cool was that? Adam always wanted to be a rock star. While in high school, Adam met the love of his life. Her name is Zoe. Zoe and Adam dated throughout his junior and senior year and eventually moved in together. Adam asked Zoe to marry him on New Year's Eve, and she said yes. I'll never forget the text from Adam. She said yes. On Adam's 21st birthday, he went to the BMV and got his coveted horizontal driver's license. Zoe shared with us the story that when he came out, told her that he had registered to be an organ donor. At first she thought, why? But Adam reassured her, no, it will be so cool. I could one day save a life and then go on to be part of the universe. Adam said that it felt like he had made an adult decision and the right one to make. Little did we know that this would be the truth 6 months later. So this is all the great stuff, but of course there's a continuation and how Adam became an organ donor. While in high school, Adam began experimenting with drugs, like many people then and now. It started with marijuana, but unfortunately, Adam's addiction and disease progressed to him using other drugs. I'm not sure when he first used heroin, but he became addicted quickly. I knew something wasn't right. He and Zoe were living with us at the time, and I discovered evidence of drug use. Adam was in rehab the next day. He attended meetings, got a sponsor, tried his best to stay sober. His counselor told me that there are some people who can use and walk away from it. Then there are some people who become physically and mentally addicted. This was Adam's case. Due to his ADHD, maybe only being 20 years of age, the responsibility of sobriety was overwhelming. Adam was sober for a year, working, living with his fiancée on their own, seemingly doing well, but on a cold January morning in 2014, Adam decided to use, and unfortunately, it was a fatal decision. Adam overdosed. I remember the morning. It was a bitter cold morning. I think the temperature outside was -10. We received the fateful call that Adam had used heroin and was unresponsive. His fiancée and friend had started CPR and had called 911. Through the heroic efforts of the paramedics, Adam was able to be resuscitated. In 2014, Narcan was not readily available nor regularly carried by police. Adam was transported to, at the time, Lake West Hospital. Initially, the CT scan was grim, but he was on a ventilator, and they were hopeful that due to his young age and otherwise health, that there was hope. Greg and I didn't feel comfortable with him being treated at a smaller hospital, so I asked him to be transported down to Cleveland Clinic. It's interesting that I had chosen Cleveland Clinic because earlier in Adam's life at age 6, Adam had developed hemolytic uremic syndrome and went into full kidney failure from contracting E. coli from contaminated hamburger meat. He was hospitalized for almost a month and required peritoneal dialysis. 9 of those days were spent in the PICU. Looking back, he was so ill, and we could have lost him then. We were so close to him needing a kidney transplant that we prepared ourselves to be tested to which one of us would be the best match. His kidneys and his pancreas had been affected. Adam finally responded to dialysis and in time made a full recovery. When we arrived at Cleveland Clinic, he was admitted to the ICU on a ventilator. His body core temperature was lowered to help preserve brain function. As you all know, I'm sure, they and us were hopeful in the beginning. On about a day or two, testing was done for response and ability to breathe off the ventilator. Many scans were performed as well. Things were moving too fast, and yet not fast enough. It was like being in the movie The Matrix, confusing and surreal. We were given the grim news that Adam had little brain function. How could this be? From a mother's point of view. He was warm, looked comfortable, apparently breathing, but the truth was his body was struggling to maintain homeostasis and stability. I remember sitting in the private room and discussing everything. Our friends were with us, and it was then that Zoe shared with us the story of Adam's registering to be an organ donor. I asked if Adam could be an organ donor to the physicians, and they said yes, possibly. I inquired how long we would have before his organs would no longer be viable. We really knew nothing about the process or anything about donor recipients or donation in itself. Things quickly shifted. We decided that this was Adam's wish and we wanted no possibility of waiting to prevent that from happening. It was Adam's last gift to us. He spared us that decision. His last act on earth wasn't that of an overdose. It was the gift of life. Heroin didn't get the last word. Death didn't get the last word. Because organ donation allows us to make a difference forever. That is why it's so important to be a registered organ donor, and more importantly, to let your loved ones know of your decision. That's when I became acquainted with LifeBank. Brandy and Christine guided us through the arduous task of information gathering. We said our painful goodbyes to Adam and left the hospital. In the next few days, we planned a wake and a funeral. If you remember, the winter of 2014 was one of the coldest on record. It was bitter, cold, and we chose a final resting place for Adam and had a beautiful mass and funeral. Approximately 500 people attended. So many hugs, so many I'm so sorries. We were very honest how Adam died. We refused to stand behind the pillar of shame, as so many people feel when they have a family member who struggles with the disease of addiction. Adam fought bravely, but in the end, he did greater things than I or most people ever do. Shortly after Adam's death, it became apparent to me that I needed help in counseling. I reached out to Alyssa Berman, the Director of Bereavement Services at LifeBank. It was the beginning of a journey of healing and hope. 10 years later, I'm here because of the caring and counseling I received. Through LifeBank, I have been able to grieve, mourn, and yes, even celebrate Adam's donation. I became an advocate for donation, and I've been given so many opportunities to share Adam's story. I was awarded the 2017 Legacy of Life Award, and I currently serve on the Donor Family Council. I volunteer whenever I am able. I have given interviews, and our story is in the Library of Congress. The latest achievement that Adam has is his artwork has been chosen to be on the 2024 Challenge coin that is presented to organizations and individuals who support organ, tissue, and corneal donation. Adam was able to donate both his kidneys and his pancreas. Karen received one kidney and his pancreas, and Renee received his other kidney. The first person who was offered Adam's kidney and pancreas said no. Due to the nature of Adam's death, the donation was considered a high risk. Of course, all appropriate testing was done, and nothing was found to be a concern, but nonetheless, it was a high-risk donation. Karen was then offered his organs, and Karen was desperately ill. She knew that this was her last Christmas, and only donation was going to save her. But there's another component to Karen's acceptance. You see, Karen is a recovering addict herself. At her time of transplant, she was celebrating 15 years of sobriety. Karen waited a year to write to us in order to give time for her to heal, recover, and give Adam a year of sobriety. She presented us with his 1-year sobriety coin when we met her. She continues to be sober and celebrates 2 sobriety dates, Adam's and hers. She is a wonderful steward of Adam's gifts. She truly embodies the caring and gratefulness of what I assume most recipients are. Renee is extremely healthy now and continues to care for herself and her family. She is also a wonderful caretaker of Adam's gift. As time has gone by, Adam's donation has had this amazing ripple effect. Due to his donation, lives have been saved, people have been educated, and Karen and I's story went viral. A small pebble in a pond has this lasting ripple for over 10 years. About a year ago, I was contacted by one of Adam's high school friends. They were not best friends, but I always thought Nate was a kind and gentle soul. He shared with me that for a long time he had felt the impact of Adam's donation, and due to this he became an altruistic kidney donor. Wow. Never underestimate the power of your actions, the powerful impact we can make by a simple yes. And so my message to all of you here today is that one of a grateful family member. For every patient you take care of, there's a story behind their illness, disease, recovery, or death. If there is a family and a loss, that you may be the worst day of their life, you have been entrusted with the amazing gift and talent to care for and heal others. Because of people who do the work as first responders, emergency room, ICUs, and all levels of carings, donation happens. Organ donation does not happen without an amazing team of people. Never forget that your efforts can change a life, possibly that of 8, and help enhance the lives of 80 plus. From a donor family, I thank all of you for the work that you do. Never underestimate the impact you have. I am grateful for the opportunity to share Adam's story with you, because every time I get to share Adam's story, I get to be a mother to him, share him, and celebrate him. In closing, I would also like to thank LifeBank and every OPO in our country that works hard to help eliminate the need for over 100,000 people waiting for organ donation. Thank you.